Hello, my friend. Welcome to my timeline. Thank you so much for being here. I thought today that we would take a moment to look back in time. I've been thinking about reading from my journal and reflecting upon what was happening during that time in my life. So I'm not exactly sure. I am sure. I've been doing this over the past few weeks and none of my entries have had dates. So I was just about to say, I'm not sure when this is going to be, but I actually put a date. So this is from March 18th, 2023. I've had a sensitive week, felt vulnerable, let tears fly, been upset by situations beyond a sense of control. What even am I waiting for? I just feel unsure and ungrounded, yet so firm in some parts of my life. Life is always weaving around me. There's so much joy and beauty, and I feel such a sense of happiness and excitement feeling through this pregnancy. My body has changed. I don't feel fit, but I feel at peace. I feel calm in my spirit and connected to this life growing inside me. Soon I will get to hold him. It's so cool, truly. I'm so looking forward to this. Becoming a mom is something I was so unsure of. I felt I wanted to, but I was always held back in the thinking it was the path for me. I felt more unconsciously, I believe, that because of my childhood felt, well, wonky, I didn't feel equipped. Like I didn't fully understand love enough to go down the parenthood path. I still feel this odd connection with love. I still think I don't really get it. But the moments I know I feel it, I could never describe how it feels. It's just something you feel, you know. It's so interesting. I've read this page over the past few weeks. Um, so the series that I've been working on has been just flipping to a random page in my journal and reading what comes up. And I've I've read this one. And so it's interesting that it came up again. I keep getting drawn to the line, what even am I waiting for? Feeling so ungrounded, but also firm in other parts of my life. It does feel like there's been a bit of a crossroads lately in so many areas of my life. Like playing with the crossroads, the duality, the teeter totter, like just all of these ways to simply describe that there's always two choices. You can turn left or you can turn right. So often I question everything as I do, but some of the big questions in my world have been, do I stay in this home or do I find a different home? Do I stay in the city or Do I live in a different city? Do I put Jacob in daycare or do I keep him home? Do I completely eliminate certain foods from my diet or do I just allow myself to be nourished by what I'm called to nourish myself with? Every day, I think about every single choice that I could ever make and how it has a butterfly effect on the rest of the world. And I was thinking that there's certain choices that you make that have a very small ripple, and you could probably make multiple decisions that would not take you too far off of like a path, or they would probably lead to a very similar outcome. But then there's those moments where you make these larger choices or ones that have a ripple for not only your life, but the lives of others around you. And how could you possibly know? How could you possibly know whether or not that ripple would make such a difference? And that's something to play with. You know, when you get that intuitive hit being like, oh, I want to go compliment that person. And then you're like, oh no, that's weird. Like, I don't want to go over there. I don't want them to think XYZ. And so you stop yourself from doing the thing that you get an intuitive hit to do. And so there's so many different options, right? What could happen? So you don't do it. And that's just that. It kind of just like ends. You don't make this connection. You don't get that little feel good jolt of knowing that you complimented somebody and potentially seeing that it brings them joy, right? And that ripples for both your life and their life. But then what about that person? What if that person was having like an absolutely awful day and they like there's so many different things in their world, right? It's like two rocks colliding. And like you have no idea what's going on in their life. So you making that choice to go over there and compliment them, maybe it starts them on a path. Maybe it, validates them in some way that causes a really positive effect in their life. Maybe you saying that creates a connection and then you have a friend. Like there's so many different things that could happen. And that's like super overwhelming to think about. I was driving. I went out really early this morning and I went to get groceries. And so one thing that I've played with and has been listening to the intuitive hits I get. I mean, all of the time. I'm really trying to listen, but especially while driving, I will, and walking, I guess, but like we're talking about driving. So I'm driving along and I visualize the path to get where I'm going to go. And it changes. And sometimes I have preferences and so I will like visualize that route. And then sometimes I get the intuitive hit to go a different way. Even something as simple as there's this option always. I'm going down this main street. There's always an option to turn left or go straight and go to the next light. And I always struggle with making this decision. And you might be thinking that's, it in theory makes no difference whether or not I turn left and go straight down two streets or I go straight through, turn left and go down like one street. It makes really no difference, right? In theory, this should be an autopilot response, but every time I get to this spot, I wait to see where my body wants to take me. And it always varies. And there's been so many times that I've been driving and I get the hit to go into the right lane or the left lane or make a turn or don't make a turn. And when I don't listen to that, I get like caught behind a bus, or I thought there was going to be an advanced green. So I was like, I overrode that feeling, and there wasn't a green light. And it shouldn't make that big of a deal. But by not listening to that, there's then like a disturbance in the force, and then weird things start to happen. And then there's like this chain of events, like I'm not supposed to be in that spot. And it dissipates quickly enough. I get home, but there's this strange ripple in that moment. And it feels like I'm out of alignment. I spoke yesterday about how I had this really beautiful alignment going to this store and getting my hair care products, which I'm going to use tonight for the first time, and or tomorrow morning, and I'm really excited. I'll report back. But everything was so perfectly aligned. Like nothing went funny. There was no there was no overthinking. Just the path was followed and everything came out the way that it felt like it should. And I just felt like I was in alignment. And it's just really wild to think about how every choice could have this, this butterfly effect. That was like one of my favorite movies. I'm interested to know if I haven't watched it in years. Ashton Kutcher, man, back in the day. I'm interested to know if anyone has watched that movie and what they think of it. And I kind of want to rewatch it because honestly, it was like one of my favorites. I had it on DVD, not even Blu-ray. I forgot about Blu-ray. I totally forgot Blu-ray was a thing. It's crazy how much tech has shifted. It's so crazy to think that like tapes and cassettes and A-track and records, and I know they still exist and some people sort of use them, but like, oh my gosh, the tech has shifted. And especially like the DVD era, I feel like it was really short. It was like during the time where you would buy like a TV and they were like $4,000. They were so expensive. Now they cost nothing, but yeah, that was like the time where TVs were like $4,000 for like, you know, it's so weird. So weird how things have shifted so quickly. I'm interested to know if you had to get, I mean, I know that I have a child, but like, I'm interested to know the age that you think I am. And maybe I'm aging myself talking about Blu-rays and cassettes, but um, I'm always so interested to know what people think the age I am, because so many people think that it's different than what it is. So if you have a guess, let me know down below. I'm interested to know your thoughts. And with that, let's bid farewell. I hope you're having a really great day. And if you have any thoughts about today, please let's have a conversation about it down below. Please be brave. I'd love to chat, and I'd really love to know your thoughts about this butterfly effect, because it's something that's been on my mind for the last couple of days. And I'm just playing around with, again, this intuitive sense, and sometimes like purposefully choosing not to listen, just to see the kind of like honestly, it's like a glitch. It's really, really interesting. Okay, have a beautiful night, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.